Yay, awesome. We're back in business.
Cool.
All right.
In the quiet town of Eastwick, where nothing ever changes, three beautiful women are about to discover powers they never dreamed they had.
Who should we be looking for?
He should be really handsome.
Nice eyes.
Now, the man of their dreams is here
Jane, at last we meet.
to stay for a spell.
Who are you?
Just your average, horny little devil.
With the Witches of Eastwick.
We could do things you haven't any idea.
You know what's going on up in that house? She says she sees the devil here in Eastwick.
If you were the devil, would you come to Eastwick?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you going to seduce me too?
Women, a mistake? Or did he do it to us on purpose?
Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer. The Witches of Eastwick.
Hocus pocus.
Sword of omens, give me sight beyond sight.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blastoff.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
This is 80s Reboot Overdrive Podcast.
We were dancing just like Swayze when Jennifer Grey had a nose. Oh, how I miss the 80s, but I'm too young to really know. Too young to know.
Oh my god. That is like so dated.
This is 80s Reboot Overdrive, and I am Dave. Online, I have got Scott.
Hi.
And
Back
Matt.
again.
I talked over you, Scott, because that's
Yes,
the way I
you
roll.
did. Hello, everybody.
We're talking 80s Icon series. We're moving on to Mr. Jack Nicholson, the Just Jack. Just absolutely fabulous actor. We're going to get started with his movie credits in the 1980s. So we got him in 1980 as Jack in The Shining. 1981, he was in The Postman Always Rings Twice. 1981, Reds. 1982, The Border. 1983, Terms of Endearment. 1985, Prizzi's Honor. 1986, Heartburn. 1986, again, TV movie where he was the voice, narrator, Elephant's Child. 1987, The Witches of Eastwick. 1987, Broadcast News. 1987, Ironweed. And 1989, as the Joker in Batman. So, awesome credits there for Mr. Jack Nicholson. We're going to be talking about our favorite 1980s moment here with Jack. Let's get started with Matt.
You know, it's so hard to pick.
You know, and I kind of figured that this might be hard for you.
This on the 80s. Yeah, it's
because anybody that's a regular listener of 80s Reboot, you know that Matt's got a lot of the affection for the Oscar-worthy movies. So I can imagine that this might be a little tougher for
and
you.
he's been nominated almost repeatedly in the 80s.
How many times was he nominated? Do you know?
I know he was nominated he won for Terms of Endearment.
Right.
I think he was nominated.
The Shining?
Now I'm drawing a blank. No, he wasn't nominated for The Shining.
Reds?
He was nominated for Reds.
Terms, of course.
Prizzi's Honors.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was nominated for Witches of Eastwick.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if he's nominated for Ironweed or not.
Well,
but go back and listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
For each one of those years.
Each one of those years, yeah. I was just thinking, you're going to have to listen to each individual year to see which one he was nominated for. That's good. That just, that's 10 more episodes that we got to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm in. I've listened to I think I've listened to 6 of them so far. I'm a little behind on some of my podcasts.
Yeah, they were done with that a while ago, Scott. So
I know.
Let's get with the program.
I'm listening to the Grammys. I'm listening to the Oscars. I'm listening to your podcast, Dave, with the icons, where I'm actually listening to myself, which is kind of weird, but whatever.
I didn't hear GammaCast in that list, so you're
what? No, I'm behind. I'm way behind on GammaCast. I listened to the first episode and only watched the first episode of the series. The Hulk, but I still think that
I can't believe you guys are sitting through that.
Honestly,
it really is a great show. It really is. It's not easy to sit down and take all of this in. It's a lot of media.
Yeah. I've got to tell you, I'm surprisingly, I've gotten way more into watching that now than I ever thought I would.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. I mean, it's surprising me. And I'm going to go on tangents now based on what I've talked about already with Charlie.
Yeah. And Jack Nicholson as Dr. Banner was phenomenal.
That's David Banner. Not Bruce, but David. But okay, I'm sorry. Matt, you wanted to say your favorite 80s moment with Jack.
He's still
my favorite.
Can't pick it.
No, one of my favorite movies with Jack Nicholson from the 80s is such an understated performance, is On the Border, where he's playing sheriff about a border town, and it's such a great performance from him, and it's so. Because everybody thinks you remember him from The Shining, where he's just playing a crazy person. And that ends up being a lot of people's memories from him. But you watch him in On the Border, and it's such a quiet performance from him. And it's just complete 180 from everything else that he's done.
Well, thank you for picking a movie that I have absolutely nothing to contribute.
Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel's in that one too. That's a pretty good lineup. Jack Nicholson,
Harvey Keitel.
I remember this movie coming out, but I don't remember watching it. So I'm gonna have to.
It's an early 80s. It's like 82 or
82. It says. Yeah, that's an interesting pick, and I might have to go revisit that one because I know that it got some good reviews back in the day. Somebody mentioned it. It rings a bell for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it was Jack. I don't know.
So a corrupted border agent decides to clean up his act when an impoverished woman's baby is put up for sale on the black market. So Jack is what, the border agent?
Yeah, he's the border agent.
Okay.
And there's a lot of scenes with him. He's wearing the mirror sunglasses, and he could be intimidating at times, but he's never over the top, which it can throw you off a little bit, which I like. That's why he's one of the greatest actors, is just he can come in and do those kind of roles.
Yeah, I like Jack. Pretty much almost everything he's done. I can't think of a movie that I've seen with him that I didn't like. So that's
bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, no, that wasn't that bad. It wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it.
Terrible.
Come on.
I
Like,
think he needs to get paid. What about that dog movie? He did that dog movie.
what dog movie? Which one was that?
That's sometime like mid 90s or early 2000s.
What,
I can't remember what the hell
as
it's
good as
called.
it gets?
No, not as good as it gets. No, it's like
Wolf?
the dog.
Oh, Wolf.
No.
Where he
Not
was the Wolf
Wolf.
Man? A Few
It's
Good
like,
Men.
I think it's called Man Up. No.
Where do you get A Few Good Men being a dog movie? Where do you get that? How do you put that connection together?
Dude, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just being goofy. I don't know. I don't know what dog movie he's talking about. How about Mars Attacks?
I think it's called Man Up. Is it Man Up? You guys got IMDb up.
We do, but I don't see anything that says dog movie.
How about Man Trouble?
Man Trouble. I think that's it.
Okay, let me. That's a dog movie? Sleazy, but affable guard dog trainer. It's a guard dog trainer movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it had a dog in it.
You're killing me, Matt. That's awesome. That's a good pick. I like that. Okay.
That wasn't in the 80s.
We jumped
92.
Jumped off the decade, but I think we've been doing that for a little bit now. So, for me, I've got to pick on Batman again. So Jack Nicholson as the Joker, Jack Napier, which was, I think, the only Joker movie where we actually got a real identity for the Joker. But just the classic line, "Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?"
Dang it, Dave! I was just going to ask you that question.
Dude, never touch another man's rhubarb. Anyway, I digress. Actually, I didn't that time. But yeah, Jack Nicholson, Joker, Batman, just over the top, psychotic, killer, crazy, and fun. If you can combine all of that together into one, just made a very, very iconic Joker. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So that's my 80s moment with Jack.
Yeah, I got to say, I liked him as the Joker better than Heath Ledger. Sad story there, but Jack he brought a little something funny to it that was just interesting. It made the movie a lot better with Jack as the Joker, I will say. Even though I had mentioned in our Michael Keaton podcast that Batman was good and all, but I think I like Jack Nicholson as the Joker in that movie better than the main Batman role. So
I don't remember that. That seems like so long ago that we talked about that.
When was that?
That was like months ago, I think. Was it?
Yeah. Could have been.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Time flies whether you're having fun or not.
Just be sure to put this in the sure to not release this 6 months.
They'll be released right after each other.
Yeah.
People will be like, I don't know what Dave's talking about. They just talked about that. So,
I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Really? Oh,
it's never struck me as menacing at all. This whole thing, it was never scary to me. He was much more scary in The Shining, but this movie he wasn't very threatening.
So you needed the Joker to be scary.
Yeah, I needed him to be scary to be a convincing villain, and it's just. I know he was there for the paycheck. They probably offered him a bunch of money. And I think you can see, if you watch movies and you realize that they're getting paid a ton of money, like I'm going to throw this one out there in the 90s, but Highlander 2. If you watch Highlander 2, just watch it, and you can see how bad Sean Connery is. Like, he's just phoning in every scene. There's no... That's because they paid him a bunch of money to do that movie.
I'm sorry.
Because he has no reason to be there.
Accent.
Yeah.
Because he's Scottish. He's Scottish, right?
And I just think that same thing with Jack Nicholson. He didn't really try.
I gotta completely disagree. There's Jack is he was so awesome in that movie. Now I'll grant you, you're right. It wasn't scary, but based on what I alluded to before when we were talking about Michael Keaton, was that this was a just a slight variation change as to what we got from what we were given before for what Batman was in popular culture, being the '66 Batman, being the Super Friends Batman. This was a darker element, which was closer to the source material. But had you had a scary Joker, maybe it wouldn't have been as popular and beloved as it became.
I don't
So
know.
yeah.
But The Dark Knight proved you can have a scary Joker and still make billions of dollars.
Well, this is true. This is true. But gotta say, I disagree with you. I think Jack did an awesome job as a Joker. But granted, he probably gets some major bang for that movie. I'm not going to argue with that point. So, but I think he had fun while doing the role, and I think that's what came across to me. And if you're getting a big paycheck, of course you're going to have fun with it. You're going to be like, hey.
He did definitely seem like he was having fun doing that role.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little too much fun. I mean, most people don't. I don't know. It just he was definitely enjoying his time as the Joker.
Yeah, I like there's a scene there where he's telling all the mob bosses that he's taken over for Grissom. And the one guy disagrees with him. He says, well, we'll just shake hands and you'll go on your way. And then he fries him. And then he ends up like still talking to the guy after he's been fried. I mean, it was so morbid and sick, but funny.
It's dark comedy.
Yeah, definitely. So Scott, favorite 80s moment with Jack?
So I'm torn between The Shining and The Witches of Eastwick. I love The Witches of Eastwick. I think a lot of people didn't think it was as entertaining as I did. I don't know why I liked it so much, but I just think Jack played such a great role as, like Lucifer personified. He was the devil, basically. And I just think he pulled it off perfectly. He really, really was a good character in that movie. He was he did everything just the way you think the devil might pull the wool over your eyes. He's a tricky character.
Yeah, no, he played the devil, but I always associated him more of like a vampire and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw him as the devil, and
he was the devil.
No, I know that. I realize that, but I'm just saying, how he was supposed to be suave and debonair and endearing and entrancing to the ladies, and for me in that time period, that was always the role of a vampire. So that's the reason why I put that connection. But I understand what you're saying. He's definitely the devil. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, how can you ever discount him as Jack in The Shining? I just think he did a great job of playing this guy that just went from a family man and he took a step over the edge because of his isolation and went to this completely psychotic character that it's just he was very convincing that he had lost his mind. So it's hard to pick between those two movies. And then of course you have his other great roles in terms of Endearment and The Postman Always Rings Twice, which was hot and sweaty, but so that's where I stand on that. That's between Witches of Eastwick and The Shining. It's really hard to pick my favorite moment of those two. Here's Johnny. How many times you heard that in your life? I mean, really.
I would argue that, he's not believable at the beginning of The Shining. He's way more believable as he gets crazier.
Now, is that because you'd seen him as kind of crazy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and it kind of carried over, or what do you think?
No, it's just like, at the beginning of the movie, he first gets the job and they're showing him around the hotel and he's, the normal John, Johnny, whatever. And, it's just, that part of it just seemed like there was something more there that he just wasn't, to me, believable at that point. It wasn't until the movie progressed and he started flaking out and just really embracing the craziness that I enjoyed him more in the latter part of the film than the beginning part of the film.
So I got to throw in something real quick, just a little moment in my life today as we speak about this with The Shining. I was debating whether a friend of mine invited me to go out on the boat today, and I'm bombarded with yard work from the storm that we just had come through, and there's branches and stuff. I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, dude, I have too much. This is all in text. We're texting back and forth. I have too much to do. And he sends back to me, all work and no play makes Scott a dull boy. Like, oh, man. All right, fine. I'll do all my yard work on Sunday. Let's go on the boat. So I went on the boat. I was on the boat. So it's a good time. Anyway, that's funny. It's kind of a Shining reference on the day that we're talking about Jack Nicholson.
That is really cool.
Okay, so that wins the argument between the Witches of Eastwick and The Shining. So I have to go with The Shining.
Just because your friend texted you.
Yes.
Outstanding.
It's
awesome.
Timing. It's all about timing.
What about you, Matt? You a big fan of The Shining?
Oh, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan of Stanley Kubrick in general. And I love The Shining. It's one of the scariest movies ever, I think. And I think that Jack Nicholson probably, you're right, Davey, it does start off the movies a little crazy to begin with, and he just progresses too crazy, I think.
Yeah, just for some reason the straight-laced, sane Jack Torrance at the beginning of the movie wasn't believable, and I don't know why that was.
No.
It didn't feel that way to me.
No, and I think I almost think that was intentional to kind of prepare you for the rest of the movie. And I think that's a brilliant little piece of acting by him.
Yeah, I didn't say he was horrible in it. I'm just thinking that, the portrayal at the beginning, it just didn't feel, like he was all there. And maybe you're right. Maybe that's right. Yeah. But, I think Shelley Duvall didn't do good in that movie at all, though. But that's my personal opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked her.
I don't know. Shelley Duvall's she's an interesting actress. I thought she did great as Olive Oil.
She's just great as Olive Oil.
Opposite Robin Williams.
I'll say this.
She was like, she was the perfect Olive Oil, actually. She pulled that off perfectly.
I gotta ask, do you like that movie?
Of
course you do.
I
yes,
do.
You do.
I
know
really
you do.
I do.
Mr. Star Wars,
yes, it was bad, but I did like it.
Oh my God! All right.
Sorry.
I have to admit, I like Popeye too.
You like Popeye too? Wow! All right. Yeah. And you guys have given me a hard time about Valley Girl.
No, wait.
Oh no! Okay, you didn't, but I know Matt did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did I? I don't remember. I know I gave you a bad time about Xanadu.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now that I would, I definitely gave you a hard time about Xanadu.
I think, Scott, I think I curbed your opinion a little bit.
Yeah, you
We were
did.
discussing, so
You did a little bit.
I was a little persuasive for the merits of Xanadu.
That was awesome.
And I still think we need to do a Howard the Duck episode because I feel I need to really defend that one. But we're getting way, way, way off topic.
Come on, let's do we got to do the bad movies episode. I swear. Not kidding. We need to do a bad movies episode. So.
I know that Matt's down for Mac and me. So.
Matt, would you be interested in would you be interested in doing the worst movies of the '80s podcast?
Of course, that's my jam.
That is your wheelhouse.
All right, I think we've got our crew intact and ready to roll. Let's do this.
Yes.
So anyway, back to Jack.
Jack. All right, so I think we should get some final thoughts on Jack Nicholson in the '80s. What are you thinking, Scott?
I think Jack Nicholson he played a lot of different types of roles in that era. Along with the rest of his career, he played some very serious roles, like with Terms of Endearment and Prizzi's Honor, and some that he got a lot of, what do you call it, recognition or something out. I'm lost. Getting old kind of stinks. You lose.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth, can you?
No, I can't.
I love that reference, though. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think he's very good. He's well-rounded. He can play just about any role. He can go from funny to serious. Although he didn't do a lot of funny stuff. Although I think Witches of Eastwick, he was funny in a way, even though it was a kind of a dark comedy.
Pretty funny. In terms of
his character was he the comic relief? Would you call him the comic relief in that movie?
Sort of the comic relief of the movie.
They needed comic relief in that movie because it was so sad and depressing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
he's kind of the lighthearted. He brings everybody up.
Yeah. Cool. So those are my final thoughts.
Okay, Matt, what do you think? Final thoughts on Jack in the '80s.
He's probably one of our. I guess he's retired now since he hasn't done anything in a long time. One of our greatest living actors, and you can't go wrong with Jack Nicholson. It's just every time you see him, he's just amazing in everything, even in all the bad movies. It's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just, anything that he's involved in, he's going to, in one way, shape, or another, steal the show. And, he's one of those icons that has that first name recognition, and you don't even have to say the last name. You just say Jack, and you know who you're talking about.
Yep.
That's this guy. And so many great things that he gave us in the '80s. Even the all the length of Oscar stuff, and then the scary movie with the Shining, and some comedic elements. Loved him as the Joker for me. So yeah, I just enjoy the Jack ride is what I do. As I just I'm on for the ride, and I enjoy everything that he touches. I so love that you brought up A Few Good Men reference. Love that movie also. So that's later on in the '90s.
I can go back to the '60s. Like, he steals Easy Rider.
I was going to mention, I was going to mention Easy Rider. That was a good one.
Yeah, there's so many great movies, and when you look at them, the first thing you do is you think Jack Nicholson. And there's other people in those movies, obviously. But yeah, he's just.
Even in Little Shop of Horrors. That's freaking classic.
Huh? I don't remember him that one.
Oh,
with
plays the
no, wait.
patient.
Little
I'm
Shop.
talking about the old one, 60s.
Oh, from the 60s. Okay. I'm thinking of the one from the 80s where Bill Murray was the patient, right?
Yeah. I think he has a cameo in there.
Does he? Nice.
Yeah,
He
I've never
plays
seen
voice or something.
You've never seen the original?
Never seen the original.
Yeah, I remember.
You gotta see that.
I saw it a long time ago. I think I was a kid when I saw that. So it was, but I definitely liked it with Moranis on there. What's his name?
Yeah.
Rick Moranis.
Rick
Moranis, yeah.
Yeah.
Never happened to him.
Alrighty, so that's our final thoughts for Jack Nicholson. What about our social media credentials? Start us off, Matt.
I'm on Twitter at MattMcLean73.
All right, Scott, what about you?
I am at 80s Auto Reverse on Twitter, or you can find me on Facebook at 80s Mixtape Auto Reverse.
All right, I'm Dave. I take care of our 80s Reboot accounts. That's Twitter at 80s Reboot. And Facebook is facebook.com/80s Reboot. Tumblr is 80sreboot.tumblr.com. We have a blog, southgatemediagroup.com/80s Reboot blog. And if you ever want to shoot us an email, and I love getting those emails that we can read on the podcast and talk about, that's 80sreboot@gmail.com. So we appreciate everybody reliving the 80s with us, and have a wonderful night. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s. All right, now what are you doing messaging me?
Did you see it?
Oh, I see the picture, yes.
Yeah, my actually they're my cousin's kids, so they're like my second or third cousins or something like that. They dressed up as the twins from The Shining just last year.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, they posted a picture in color, and I copied the picture and I tweaked it and put it all in black and white, made it all creepy looking, and so it was fun. It's kind of cool. The twins from The Shining.
Yeah, I see that, and I think red rum.
Oh, dude, and I also met somebody just recently that has the red rum as a tattoo on his leg. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So he holds his leg up to the mirror. Is that what he does?
Apparently. And then it says murder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's written in that red, like
crayon.
The way that the red crayon type writing on it's on his shin actually, or right below his knee, going sideways there. Kind of weird.
You start questioning him. Start questioning him. So where were you that night?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, enjoy the photo.
Yeah, definitely. Nice and creepy. Perfect.
It is creepy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. All right, guys, this has been fun. I know Matt's got to feed his brood. So
yeah.
It's been good talking to you. It's been good talking to you again, Matt. It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
I think we haven't done a show
on that.
Yeah, the worst movies of the 80s.
I'm totally into that. You gotta include me on that. Make sure you do that.
And that's the part that I wasn't clear when we talked with Rose about it. You guys were saying that it's got to be a movie that we watched but we didn't like, that we admit that we watched.
Yeah, I think
I'm still down.
I think we
could
could
actually watch the movie and record at the same time if you really wanted to get technical.
Yeah, no,
then we could have like a running commentary on it.
Oh, you mean like a Mystery Science Theater?
Yeah, something like
kind
that.
of a thing. Yeah. Well, I did come across the Howard the Duck version of a faux Mystery Science Theater where 3 guys were watching the movie and breaking it down on a podcast.
I'm sure they were not nice.
I will say it's not family friendly.
Yeah, yeah.
There was some profanity.
Explicits. Okay.
It would have a little red square E in the description if you were to look at it.
Now I know if you guys probably don't. I don't know if you follow Leah Thompson or not, but she's actually going to be. They're using her likeness in the Howard the Duck comic book.
So, I swear, I thought for a second you were going to say they were going to do a sequel to Howard the Duck, and I'm like,
no. She's just one of Howard the Duck is a private investigator in the comic book, and so she's going to be as I think Beverly Switzer, one of his clients, for like a 2-issue crossover.
Oh, so they did. They bought her image.
Yeah. They're just using her image for the comic book.
Well, that's cool.
No, either that or she portrays Leah Thompson. One of the two. I forgot, but anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, it's bad that I also knew her full name from Howard the Duck also. So go ahead and yell at me for that.
Beverly what?
Switzer.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck.
Anyway. Don't. No, please. Seriously, I don't want that. I have to go to bed soon. I don't need that playing over my head several times.
Howard the Duck.
Come on!
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Later.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
New and improved Joker products with a new secret ingredient. Smiley.
What is this?
Now, let's go over to our blind taste test.
Love that Joker.
Where's it coming from?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. You don't look happy. He's been using Brand X. With new Joker brand, I get a grin again and again. Oh. That luscious tan, those ruby lips and hair color, so natural, only your Undertaker knows for sure. I know what you're saying. Where can I get these fine new items? Well, that's the gang. Chances are you bought them already.
Love that Joker.
So remember, put on a hat.